Daeho, we need more power to the engines right now, Sujin shouted through the communication system. Her voice was tight with worry. Those alien ships are getting closer. He wiped sweat from his face and looked at the damaged power core. 3 of the main energy lines were completely destroyed. The backup systems were failing too. Their cargo ship, the Harmony's Edge, was not built for fighting. It was meant to carry supplies between peaceful planets, not run from alien warships. I am trying, Daeho called back. But we lost too much when they hit us the first time. Through the small window in the engine room, he could see the 3 hegemony ships chasing them. The alien vessels looked like giant metal sharks with glowing red weapons. They had been hunting human ships for months now. The hegemony believed humans were dangerous pests that needed to be wiped out from the galaxy. Daeho had been a mechanic on Earth before joining the space crews. He knew how to fix almost anything with engines or computers. But right now, even his best skills might not be enough to save them? Hyun-woo, what do the scanners show? Sujin asked over the radio. Hyun-woo sat at his station in the communication room. He was the youngest of their crew, but he was very good with computers and radio signals. His fingers moved fast over the controls as he checked their sensors. The hegemony ships are charging their main weapons, he said. They will be ready to fire in 30 seconds. And there is something else, something big ahead of us. How big? Sujin asked. Really big. Like moon big. It looks like an asteroid, but the readings are strange. Daeho finished connecting 2 power cables together. The engines hummed louder as more energy flowed through them. But it was still not enough. The hegemony ships were faster and stronger. They would catch up soon. We need to hide somewhere, Sujin said. Can we reach that big asteroid thing Hyun-woo found? Maybe, Hyun-woo said, but we would have to fly straight at it. And those readings I mentioned, they keep changing. Asteroids. Do not do that. The ship shook again as enemy weapons fired near them. The shots missed, but they were getting closer. Daeho grabbed onto a support beam as the floor tilted under his feet. We do not have a choice, Sujin said. I'm setting course for the asteroid. Maybe we can hide behind it. Daeho climbed back toward the main part of the ship. He wanted to be with his friends if this was going to be their last flight together. Sujin and he had been partners for 3 years now. They had started as just work partners, but they cared about each other more than that now. He reached the bridge where Sujin sat in the pilot seat. Her black hair was tied back and her face was focused on the controls. She was one of the best pilots he had ever seen. If anyone could get them out of this, it would be her. How are the engines? She asked without looking away from her screens. They will hold together for a little while longer, he said, but not much longer. Hyun-woo looked up from his station. His young face was pale with fear, but his hands stayed steady on his controls. The hegemony ships are firing again. This time the energy beams hit their ship directly. The lights went out for a moment before the emergency power turned on. Red warning lights flashed everywhere. The ship's computer voice spoke in a calm tone that did not match their dangerous situation. Hull damage detected. Life support systems damaged. Recommend immediate landing. There is nowhere to land out here, Sujin said through gritted teeth. She pushed the engines harder, making the ship fly faster toward the giant object ahead. As they got closer, they could see it was not a normal asteroid. It had a rough, dark surface that seemed to move slightly. And it was huge, much bigger than they had first thought. Wait, Hyun-woo said, staring at his screens. This is not an asteroid. Look at these readings. It has organic signatures. It is alive. Alive? Daeho asked. How can something that big be alive in space? Before anyone could answer, the object began to change. What they had thought was just a rough surface started to open up. It opened like a mouth, showing a dark tunnel inside that seemed to go on forever. It is some kind of space creature, Sujin said with amazement and terror in her voice. A giant worm or something like that. The hegemony ships were right behind them now. Energy beams lit up the space around their ship. One shot hit their left engine, and it exploded in a shower of sparks and metal pieces. We are losing power fast, Deho said, checking the damage reports. We cannot outrun them anymore. The giant creature's mouth was fully open now. Inside, they could see strange lights moving along the walls. It looked like a tunnel leading into the center of a mountain. But this mountain was alive and floating. In space. Sujin, you are not thinking about flying into that thing, Hyunwoo said. I am thinking exactly that, she replied. It is better than letting those hegemony ships blow us up. She turned the ship toward the creature's open mouth. The dark tunnel grew larger and larger in front of them as they flew closer. Behind them, the alien warships were still firing, but they seemed to slow down as they saw where the human ship was going. They are stopping their chase, Hyunwoo said. I think they are afraid of this creature too. The ship passed between what looked like massive teeth at the entrance to the tunnel. The walls around them pulsed with soft blue and green lights. It was strangely beautiful, but also terrifying. They were flying into the stomach of something that could swallow moons. I cannot control the ship anymore, Sujin said. Something is pulling us in. The tunnel walls moved past them faster and faster. The creature was swallowing them just like a normal worm might swallow a small bug. But instead of being crushed, they seemed to be sliding down a smooth passage. Finally, their ship broke through into a huge open space. The walls were far away and covered with the same soft lights they had seen in the tunnel. But the most surprising thing was the ground below them. It looked solid, almost like the surface of a planet. Hold on, Sujin shouted. We are going to crash. The ship hit the ground hard. Deho was thrown against the wall as they slid across the surface. Metal screamed against rock as they finally came to a stop. For a moment, everything was quiet except for the sound of small fires crackling in the damaged parts of their ship. Then Hyunwoo spoke in a whisper. Are we dead? I do not think so, Deho said, checking himself for injuries. But we are definitely not where we used to be. They slowly got up and looked around. Through the windows, they could see they had landed in what looked like a vast cave. The walls curved up high above them and disappeared into darkness. But the strangest thing was that they could see other shapes in the distance. Shapes that looked like other spaceships. We are not the first ones to end up here, Sujin said quietly. A soft tapping sound came from outside their ship. Someone or something was knocking on their door. Deho picked up a tool that could be used as a weapon. Sujin grabbed her energy pistol. Hyunwoo moved to the door controls but did not open it yet. Who is there? Hyunwoo called out. A strange voice answered from outside. It spoke in broken but understandable human language. Please do not be afraid. I'm friend. I help you. My name is Veltar. You are new here, yes. You need to know about this place. About the Void Swimmer, before it is too late. The three humans looked at each other. They were trapped inside a giant space creature. Their ship was badly damaged, and now an alien was asking to come inside, but they had no choice. They needed answers. Let him in, Deho said as the door opened. They're real. Adventure was just beginning. The alien who called himself Veltar stepped through their ship's doorway. He was about the same height as a human, but his skin looked like gray rubber and moved in slow ripples. He had 4 arms and large black eyes that seemed kind despite his strange appearance. You are hurt, Veltar said, looking at a cut on Deho's arm. But you are lucky. Most ships that come here crash much worse. Where exactly is here? Sujin asked, still holding her weapon but not pointing it at him. Inside the Void Swimmer, Veltar replied. That is what my people call the great creature. You are in its first stomach chamber. There are many chambers. Deeper inside. Hyunwoo checked his air sensors and looked surprised. The air here is breathable. How is that possible? The Void Swimmer makes air for the ships it swallows, Veltar explained. It wants to keep them alive for as long as possible. Dead ships give no energy. Energy? Deho asked. Yes, the creature feeds on the electrical power from ships. Your engines, your computers, your lights. It absorbs the energy slowly so the ships last longer. Sujin lowered her weapon. How long have you been here? Many seasons? I stopped counting after the first year, Veltar said sadly. But come, you must see the others. And you must understand this place if you want to survive. They gathered some supplies from their ship and followed Veltar outside. The ground felt solid under their feet, but it had a strange springy quality, like walking on thick rubber. The walls of the enormous chamber curved up and disappeared into darkness above them as they walked. Daeho could see the other ships Sujin had spotted earlier. There were dozens of them scattered across the chamber floor. Some looked recently crashed like theirs. Others were old and covered with a thin layer of dust. "How many ships are here?" Hyun-woo asked. "In this chamber, maybe 50, Veltar said. "But there are other chambers. Hundreds of ships in total. Maybe thousands. The Void Swimmer has been collecting them for a very long time." They approached the nearest ship. It was much larger than their cargo vessel and had a design unlike anything the humans had seen before. The metal hull was green and covered with strange symbols. "That is a Cathoran trading ship," Veltar explained. "Very old. The crew died long ago when their air recycling system failed." "Died?" Sujin asked. "Most crews do not last long here. Some give up hope and stop eating. Some go crazy from being trapped. Some try to escape and get lost in the deeper chambers, where there is no air." They continued walking between the ships. Daeho studied each one with his mechanic's eye. Many showed signs of being stripped for parts. Useful pieces had been removed and carried away. "But some survive," Valtar continued. "We help each other. We share food and supplies from the ships. We try to stay sane." They reached a cluster of ships that had been arranged in a rough circle. Cables ran between them, sharing power and communications. It looked like a small village made from spaceships. "This is where the living ones stay," Veltar said. Several aliens emerged from the ships to look at the newcomers. Daeho counted at least 6 different species. Some were tall and thin with blue skin. Others were short and covered in fur. One looked almost like a giant insect. "New arrivals," called out one of the blue-skinned aliens. "How wonderful. Fresh despair to join our collection." "Do not listen to Koran," Valtar said quietly. "He has been here too long and lost hope." A furry alien approached them with more friendliness. "I am Bixtel. Welcome to our little community of the doomed." He laughed, but it was not a happy sound. "Are you all prisoners here?" Daeho asked. "Prisoners." "Guests, food sources," said the insect-like alien in a clicking voice. "The Void Swimmer does not care what we call ourselves." Sujin looked around at the gathered aliens. "Has anyone ever tried to escape?" The group became very quiet. Koran spoke first. "Oh yes, many have tried. Some attempt to fly their ships. Back up the throat. The creature's digestive muscles crush them. Some try to walk through the connecting passages to find another way out. They get lost in the maze and die alone. Some try to dig through the stomach walls," added Bixtel. "The creature heals too fast, and the acid burns through any tools." "So you just gave up?" Sujin said. There was anger in her voice. "What choice do we have?" Koran replied. "We survive day by day. We salvage what we can from the dead ships. We try not to think about the outside universe." Daeho walked over to examine the cables connecting the ships. The setup was clever, but basic. "You are sharing power between ships." "Yes," said Valtar. "It helps everyone last longer. And it gives us communications." "Communications?" Hyun-woo asked with interest. "We can talk to each other, and sometimes we pick up signals from outside. From ships passing by." Hyun-woo's eyes lit up. "Can you show me?" Veltar led them to one of the larger ships in the cluster. Inside, several aliens worked at communication stations salvaged from different vessels. The equipment was a strange mix of technologies from various species. "Here," said one of the aliens, adjusting some controls. "We just picked up this transmission." A harsh voice spoke through the speakers in the hegemony language. Han-woo understood some of it from his communications training. "They are still out there," he told his friends. "The hegemony ships? They are waiting." "Waiting for what?" Sujin asked. "For us to come out, I think. Or they are calling for more ships?" Veltar nodded sadly. "The hunters often wait outside." When they know prey is trapped here, they are patient. Deho was not listening to the conversation anymore. He was studying the communication equipment with growing excitement. This is incredible work. You have connected systems from at least 5 different species. We do what we must to survive, said the alien operator. But this gives me an idea, Deho continued. If you can combine technologies like this, what else might be possible? Corin laughed bitterly. Another dreamer. They always start with ideas. Then reality crushes them like all the rest. Show me more of the ships, Deho said to Veltar. I want to see everything. They spent the next several hours exploring the chamber. Deho examined ships from dozens of species, each with different technologies and designs. Some used fusion, power. Others used exotic energy sources he had never seen before. In one ancient vessel, they found strange crystalline computers that still functioned after centuries. In another, they discovered weapons that fired concentrated gravity waves. This is amazing, Deho said as they explored a ship that seemed to be made of living metal. Each species developed completely different solutions to the same problems. Yes, and none of them could solve the problem of escaping from here, Corin said. He had been following them, always ready with negative comments, but Deho was not discouraged. His mind was working on a dozen different ideas at once. What do you know about the creature itself, about how it works? It swallows ships, Bixtel. Sod, it digests them slowly. What more is there to know? Everything, Deho replied. If this is a living creature, it must have biological systems. Organs, circulation, nervous system. Some of the old ships have records, Veltar said thoughtfully. Ancient data about the void swimmers. Most of it is legend and myth. Can you show me? They went to the oldest ship in the chamber, a vessel so ancient that its hull had turned black with age. Inside, they found data storage systems that were still functioning. Sujin worked with Hyanwu to translate the old files. Most of the text was in languages none of them knew, but some parts had been translated by previous survivors. Listen to this, Sujin said, reading from a glowing screen. The void swimmers were once the greatest travelers of the deep space. They carried the star seeds from dying suns to new worlds. They were partners with the thinking races, not predators. Partners? Veltar asked with surprise. It says here that something changed them, Hyanwu added, reading another section. A great war in space. Poison that spread between the stars. The swimmers became sick and forgot their purpose. So they used to be different, Deho said. They used to work with other species instead of trapping them. Old myths, Coron said dismissively. Stories to make us feel better about being eaten. But Deho was staring at the ancient text with growing understanding. What if they are not myths? What if the creature is sick? What if it is trying to communicate with us, but it does not know how anymore? Communicate, Sujin asked. Think about it. Why does it keep the ships alive? Why does it provide air and relatively safe conditions? Maybe it is not trying to eat us slowly. Maybe it is trying to preserve us. Preserve us for what? Veltar asked. Maybe until it finds someone who can help it, Deho said. Someone who understands both biology and technology. The other aliens stared at him like he had lost his mind. But Sujin and Hyanwu knew that. Look in his eyes. It was the same look he got when he was about to solve an impossible mechanical problem. You are thinking about trying to fix a creature the size of a moon, Sujin said. Why not? Deho replied. I have fixed stranger things. Outside the ship, they could hear the distant rumble of the creature's biological systems. Somewhere far above them, the hegemony fleet waited with weapons ready. And around them, hundreds of ships held the accumulated knowledge of dozens of civilizations. For the first time since being swallowed, Deho smiled. We are going to need a lot more. Cable, he said. 3 days had passed since the humans arrived in the creature's belly. Deho had barely slept during that time. He spent every hour studying the ships, talking to survivors, and examining pieces of the creature itself. The walls of the chamber pulsed with a steady rhythm like a giant heartbeat. But Daeho noticed the rhythm was not quite right. It skipped sometimes, or went too fast, then too slow. The creature is sick, he told Sujin as they sat in their ship eating salvaged food. I am sure of it now. How can you tell? She asked. Look. At these samples Veltar helped me collect from the wall. Daeho showed her a small piece of the creature's tissue under a microscope. See these dark spots? That is not normal biological matter. It looks like radiation damage. Hanwoo looked up from his communication equipment. Radiation damage, like from weapons, not weapons. Cosmic radiation. The kind that builds up over thousands of years in deep space, Daeho explained. This creature has been flying through space for so long that the radiation has poisoned its entire body, so it is dying, Sujin said. Slowly, yes. And I think it knows it. That is why it has been collecting ships. To eat them, Hyanwoo said. No, to find help, Daeho replied. Think about it. If you were a sick animal and you needed help, what would you do? Find a doctor, Sujin answered. Exactly, but this creature does not know what doctors are. It only knows that ships contain intelligent beings. So it collects ships, hoping that someday one of those beings will be able to help it? They were interrupted by Veltar climbing into their ship. The alien looked excited about something. Daeho, you must come quickly, he sighed. I have been thinking about what you said yesterday, about the creature being sick. There is something I did not tell you before. They followed Veltar through the ship graveyard to a section they had not seen yet. Here, the walls were different. Instead of the usual smooth surface, there were strange growths that looked almost like mechanical parts. What are those? Sujin asked. The creature has been trying to fix itself, Veltar explained. For many years it has been growing these things, but they do not work properly. They are neither fully biological nor fully mechanical. Daeho examined one of the growths closely. It looked like the creature had tried to create some kind of filter system, but the design was flawed. It is trying to clean the radiation from its blood, but it does not know how to build the right kind of filter. There is more, Veltar said. My people have legends about the void swimmers. We used to live with them, long ago. We were their partners. Partners how? Hyanwoo asked. We helped them maintain their biological systems. In return, they carried us between the stars. But that was before the great poisoning, before they became sick and forgot how to work with other species. Veltar led them to another area where the wall had several openings like doorways. These lead to other chambers inside the creature. Most of them are filled with toxic gas now because the creature's systems are failing. Daeho stuck his head into one of the openings and immediately pulled back, coughing. The smell was terrible, like rotting metal mixed with sulfur. The creature's digestive system is breaking down, he said. That is why it cannot process the ships properly anymore. That is why some chambers are safe and others are deadly. So, what are you thinking? Sujin asked, though she already suspected she knew the answer. I'm thinking we try to cure it, Daeho said simply. The other survivors gathered around when they heard this. Koran laughed his bitter laugh. Now I have heard everything. The human wants to cure a creature the size of a small moon. It is impossible, said Bixtel. Even if you are right about it being sick, how could anyone heal something so large? The same way you heal anything else, Daeho replied. You find out what is wrong and you fix it. This human has lost his mind, Koran said to the others. First he talks about escaping, now he talks about playing doctor to our captor. But Veltar was looking at Daeho with growing hope. You really think it could work? I think it is our only chance, Daeho said. Look around you. How many ships are here? How many crews have tried to escape and failed? Maybe the answer is not to fight the creature or run from it. Maybe the answer is to help it. Help it do what? Asked one of the other aliens. Help it get healthy again. Help it remember what it used to be. Sujin had been quiet during this conversation, but now she spoke up. What would you need to try something like this? First, I would need to understand the creature's internal systems much better. I would need to map out its organs, its circulation, its nervous system. That would take years, Corin protested. Not if everyone helped, Deho replied. We have ships here from dozens of species. Each one has different types of sensors and medical equipment. If we worked together, we could scan the creature from the inside. And then what? Asked Bixtel. Then we design a cure. We use the technologies from all these ships to build whatever the creature needs to heal itself. Heian-Wu had been checking his communication equipment while they talked. Now he looked up with worry on his face. We might not have as much time as we think, he said. I am picking up more hegemony transmissions. They are calling for reinforcements. How many reinforcements? Sujin asked. It sounds like they are bringing planet-killer weapons. They plan to destroy the creature with us inside it. Planet killers, Veltar said with fear. Those weapons can crack open moons. How long before they arrived? Deho asked. Maybe 2 weeks, maybe less? The group fell silent. Even if Deho's plan could work, 2 weeks seemed like an impossible timeline for healing a creature so massive. Then we better get started, right? Away, Deho said. You are serious about this insane plan? Corin asked. Do you have a better idea? Deho replied. We could try to signal the hegemony ships, tell them we surrender. The hegemony does not take human prisoners, Sujin said. Coldly, they would kill us even if we gave up. What about the rest of us? Asked Bixtel. The hegemony kills anyone who helps humans, Heian-Wu added. You are all guilty by association now. So we are all dead unless this plan works, said one of the aliens who had not spoken before. That seems to be the situation, Deho agreed. So are you going to help me, or are you going to sit here waiting to die? Veltar was the first to speak. I will help. My people owe a debt to the Void Swimmers. Maybe this is how we repay it. One by one, the other survivors agreed to join the project. Even Corin eventually nodded his head, though he complained. The entire time. Fine, but when this fails and we all die horribly, I want everyone to remember that I said it was impossible. Fair enough, Deho said with a grin. They spent the rest of the day organizing teams and planning their approach. Sujin would lead a group to map the creature's navigation systems. She had noticed that some areas of the walls seemed to pulse with different patterns. Almost like nerve pathways. Heian-Wu would coordinate communications between all the teams and continue monitoring the threat from outside. Veltar would guide teams into the safer connecting passages to explore other chambers, and Deho would focus on understanding the creature's failed attempts to heal itself. There is one more thing, Veltar said as they prepared to begin work. The creature has been drawn to ships with skilled engineers before. Your ship was not swallowed by accident. What do you mean? Sujin asked. The creature can sense certain types of minds. Minds that think in both biological and mechanical terms. It has been searching for someone like Deho for a very long time. So it chose us, Deho said. It chose you specifically. The question is, will you be the one who finally understands what it needs? As the teams dispersed to begin their work, Sujin caught Deho's arm. Are you sure about this? She asked quietly. This is not like fixing a broken engine. This is something no one has ever tried before. That is exactly why it might work, he replied. Everyone else has tried the obvious solutions. Maybe the obvious solutions are wrong. And if you are wrong, then we die. But we were going to die anyway. At least this way, we die trying to do something that has never been done before. She smiled and kissed his cheek. Then let us go save a space whale. Space whale, he asked. That is what it looks like to me. A giant whale swimming through the stars. As they began their impossible mission, the creature's heartbeat pulsed around them, irregular and weak. Somewhere far above, enemy ships gathered with weapons capable of destroying entire worlds. But for the first time since being swallowed, all the survivors were working together toward the same goal. And that was something that had never happened. In the creature's million-year lifetime, the healing could begin. 7 days into their healing mission, Deho made his greatest discovery yet. He had been working with salvaged medical equipment from a dozen different ships, trying to understand how the creature's nervous system worked. Sujin, come look at this. He called from his makeshift laboratory. She climbed down from where she had been installing new sensor cables along the chamber walls. Her team had been mapping the creature's nerve pathways for days, and she was covered in the strange bioluminescent fluid that leaked from the walls when they cut into them. "What did you find?" she asked. Wiping her hands on a cloth, Daeho pointed to a screen that showed pulsing waves of electrical activity. "These are brain patterns. The creature is not just alive, it is thinking. And look at this complexity. This is not animal intelligence. This is something much more advanced." "You mean it is as smart as we are? Smarter, much smarter." "These patterns show memory storage capabilities that go back thousands of years." "Maybe millions?" Veltar approached with interest. His people had natural abilities to sense bioelectrical fields, and he had been helping Daeho understand the creature's biological systems. "Can you communicate with it?" Veltar asked. "I think so. But I need to build an interface that can handle both biological and electronic signals." Daeho had been collecting pieces of technology from dozens of ships. Crystalline computers from the ancient vessels, bio-neural processors from more recent ships, and quantum communication devices from the most advanced civilizations. "This is going to be dangerous," he said as he assembled the strange hybrid device. "If I connect my brain directly to something this powerful, I might not be able to disconnect." "Then do not do it," Sujin said firmly. "We do not have a choice. The hegemony reinforcements will be here in 5 days. If I cannot talk to the creature and explain what we are trying to do, we will never finish the healing process in time." Hanwoo joined them, looking worried. "I just picked up another transmission. The hegemony fleet now has 3 planet-killer ships. They are planning to fire simultaneously to make sure the creature dies completely." "Even more reason to try this," Daeho said. He put on the strange helmet he had built. It looked like a combination of a medical scanner and a computer interface, with dozens of thin wires connecting to bio-neural processors. "If something goes wrong, pull the helmet off immediately," he told his friends. "How will we know if something is wrong?" Sujin asked. "If I start screaming and do not stop?" He activated the device. For a moment, nothing happened. Then his eyes rolled back and his body went rigid. Suddenly, Daeho was not in the chamber anymore. He was floating in vast space, but this space was filled with memories and thoughts instead of stars. Around him, he could feel the presence of something ancient and incredibly sad. "Who disturbs my dying dreams?" a voice spoke directly into his mind. The voice was old beyond measure, tired and full of pain. "My name is Daeho. I am trying to help you." "Help?" The concept seemed to surprise the creature. "No one has offered help for so long. They only try to escape or attack me. I know you are sick. I know the radiation has poisoned you. But I think we can heal you if you let us." "Try." Images flooded Daeho's mind. He saw the creature's memories going back millions of years. He saw when it was young and healthy, swimming between stars with other creatures like itself. He saw the great war that had poisoned space with deadly radiation. He saw his species slowly dying one by one until only he remained. "I am the last," the creature said, "the last of the void swimmers. I have been searching for so long." "Searching for what?" "For the spawning grounds. The place where new swimmers can be born. I carry the seed of my species within me, but I must reach the stellar nursery before I die, or my people will be extinct forever." More images flashed through Daeho's mind. He saw a region of space where new stars were being born, where the radiation was clean and pure. He saw the creature's desperate journey, trying to reach this place before the poison killed it completely. "That is why you collect ships," Daeho realized. "You have been hoping someone could help you navigate there." "My navigation organs are damaged. I fly in circles, lost. I cannot find the spawning grounds alone." "But with our help you could? You would do this, even though I have trapped you here." "You did not trap us. You saved us. The hegemony ships would have killed us, and now we can help each other." The creature's presence seemed to grow warmer. "What do you need from me?" "Let us connect our ships to your biological systems. Let us combine our technology with your natural abilities. Together we can heal your radiation damage and guide you to the spawning grounds. This has never been done before. That is what makes it worth trying." When Daeho returned to normal consciousness, he found his friends staring at him with worry. He had been unconscious for 3 hours. "Did it work?" Sujin asked. "Better than I hoped," he said, smiling despite his exhaustion. "A creature wants to help us help it, and I know what we need to do." Over the next 2 days, the entire community of survivors worked on the most ambitious project in galactic history. They connected cables and pipes between dozens of ships, creating a network that spanned the entire chamber. Daeho designed biomechanical filters that could clean the radiation from the creature's bloodstream. Other teams built neural interfaces that could enhance the creature's damaged nervous system. Sujin worked on the most dangerous job of all. She had to connect her mind to the creature's navigation system and teach it how to find the spawning grounds. "This is not like piloting a normal ship," she told Daeho as she prepared for the mental link. "I will be controlling something the size of a moon. The creature will help you. It wants to reach the spawning grounds as much as we want to survive." When Sujin activated her neural link, she gasped as her consciousness expanded beyond anything she had ever imagined. Suddenly, she could feel the creature's entire body around her. She could sense its damaged organs, its weakened muscles, its ancient memories, but she could also feel its desperate hope. For the first time in millions of years, the creature believed it might actually reach its destination. "I can see the star maps in its memory," she said, her voice distant and strange. "I know where we need to go." "How far?" Daeho asked. 6 days of travel at maximum speed. "But the creature is too weak to fly that fast." "Not anymore," Daeho said. "Look around you." The chamber had been transformed. The ship graveyard was now a vast biomechanical healing system. Purified energy flowed from the ships into the creature's bloodstream. Advanced medical systems monitored and repaired damaged tissue. For the first time in eons, the creature was getting stronger instead of weaker. "The healing is working," Veltar said with amazement. "I can feel the creature's life force growing." "But will it be enough?" Hyanwu asked. "The hegemony ships will be in firing position tomorrow." Daeho looked at his incredible creation, this fusion of biology and technology that had never existed before. Ships from dozens of species working together, connected to a creature older than most civilizations. "There is only one way to find out," he said. Through her connection to the creature, Sujin felt its massive body beginning to move. Muscles that had been weak for millennia flexed with new strength. The void swimmer was preparing to swim toward its destiny. "Hold on, everyone," she called out. "We are about to find out if a creature this size can outrun warships." The chamber around them began to vibrate as the creature accelerated through space. On the sensor screens, they could see the hegemony fleet scrambling to keep up, but the void swimmer was no longer the slow, sick creature it had been. Fed by the combined energy of hundreds of ships and healed by the most advanced medical technology from dozens of civilizations, it moved through space like a living comet. "They are falling behind," Hyanwu reported with excitement. "Good," Daeho said, "but this is just the beginning. When we reach the spawning grounds, the real work starts." "What do you mean?" Veltar asked. "I mean, we are about to help birth a new species. A species that combines the best of biological evolution with the best of technological achievement." Through the walls around them, they could feel the creature's joy as it swam toward the stellar nursery where its children would be born. And those children would be different from any creatures that had ever existed. They would be living ships, carrying crews of multiple species in perfect symbiosis. The age of cooperation was about to begin. The healing process had been working perfectly for 12 hours when everything went wrong. Daeho was monitoring the biomechanical systems when alarms started screaming throughout the chamber. The walls around them began to glow with angry red. light instead of the usual peaceful blue and green. "What is happening?" Sujin called out. She was still connected to the creature's navigation system, but now she could feel something like panic in its ancient mind. "The healing process woke something up," Valtar said, his forearms working frantically at his sensor station. "Something that has been sleeping for a very long time." Through the connecting tunnels between chambers, they could hear sounds that made everyone's blood freeze. It sounded like metal being torn apart and creatures screaming. "The immune system," Daeho realized with horror. "The creature's immune system thinks we are infections." "Immune system?" Haiyan-Wu asked while trying to contact the other ship crews. "All living things have immune systems to fight off diseases and infections. But this creature is so old and so sick that its immune system has been dormant. Now that we are healing it, the immune system is waking up and trying to destroy anything it sees as foreign." "Like us?" Bixtel said. "Like all of us." The first attack came through the tunnel closest to their position. Something that looked like a cross between a giant white blood cell and a mechanical spider burst into the chamber. It was the size of a small ship and covered with cutting tools that sparked with bioelectrical energy. "Everyone get to your ships?" Daeho shouted. The defensive organism moved incredibly fast. It reached the nearest vessel, a small scout ship from Koron's species, and began cutting through the hull like it was made of paper. "Help us!" Koron screamed over the radio as his ship systems failed. Sujin disconnected from the navigation link and grabbed her energy weapon. "I have to help him." "No," Daeho stopped her. "If you go out there, that thing will kill you. We need a different solution." "What solution?" Valtar asked. "There are more coming." He was right. Through the tunnels, they could see dozens of the immune system organisms heading their way. Some looked like the spider-machine hybrids. Others were different, stranger, more terrifying. "We have to prove to the creature that we are not infections," Daeho said. "We have to show it that we are partners." "How do we do that?" Haiyan-Wu asked. "The same way immune systems learn to accept organ transplants. We have to integrate completely with the creature's biological systems." Daeho started connecting more cables between their ship and the creature's nerve pathways. But this time, instead of just monitoring or healing, he was trying to become part of the creature itself. "This is insane," Koron's voice came over the radio as his ship was torn apart around him. "We are all going to die because of your experiment." "Not if this works," Daeho replied. He put the neural interface helmet back on and immediately felt the creature's confusion and fear. The ancient being was caught between its desire for help and its body's instinct to destroy anything foreign. "You have to stop the immune system," Daeho said to the creature's consciousness. "We are not diseases, we are partners." "I cannot control it," the creature replied. "It has been sleeping so long. It does not remember the old ways when we worked with other species. Then we have to teach it." Daeho sent a signal through the biomechanical network he had built. The signal carried information about every ship in the chamber, every species, every individual survivor. "Look," he told the creature. "See how we are all working together. See how we are helping you instead of fighting each other." The creature's consciousness touched each ship through the network. For the first time in millions of years, it saw different species cooperating instead of competing, but the immune system organisms were still attacking. Koron's ship was destroyed, though he managed to escape to another vessel. 2 more ships were under attack, their crews fighting desperately with weapons that barely slowed the organisms down. "It is not working fast enough," Sujin said. "Then we need to do something bigger," Haiyan-Wu said suddenly. "Something that proves we are united." "What do you mean?" Valtar asked. "All the ships need to act as one. If the immune system sees us as separate infections, we need to show it that we are actually parts of a single organism." Haiyan-Wu activated the communication network that connected all the ships. "Everyone listen to me. I need all ships to synchronize their energy output. Make all your systems pulse at exactly the same frequency." "Why?" asked one of the alien captains. "Because We need to act like a single heartbeat. Like we are all part of the same organism. It was a desperate plan, but they had no choice. As the immune system organisms closed in on more ships, every survivor began adjusting their ship's power systems to match a single frequency dot. At first, nothing happened. Then slowly something amazing began to occur. The network of cables connecting. All the ships started to pulse in perfect unison. The entire chamber filled with synchronized light. Through his neural link, Deho felt the creature's amazement. It had never seen anything like this before. In all its million-year lifetime, it had never encountered species that could work together so completely. This is what partnership looks like, Deho told the creature. This is what your species used to do with other beings. The creature's memories stirred. Ancient recollections of the time before the Great War, when void swimmers carried partner species between the stars. When different beings worked together as parts of a greater whole. I remember, the creature said, and its voice was filled. With wonder, the immune system organisms suddenly stopped attacking. They stood motionless in the chamber, their cutting tools powering down. Then, slowly, they began to retreat back into the tunnels. It worked, Veltar said with amazement, but their relief was short-lived. New alarms started sounding, these coming from Hyanwu's communication station. The hegemony fleet is here, he announced. 3 planet-killer ships, plus 50 escort vessels. Through the creature's external sensors, they could see the massive enemy fleet taking position around them. The planet-killer ships were enormous, each one capable of cracking open a moon with a single shot. They are charging their weapons, Hyanwu reported. All 3 ships are targeting us. How long until they fire? Sujin asked. Maybe 10 minutes. Deho was still connected to the creature's consciousness. He could feel its growing strength from the healing process, but also its confusion about the threat outside. The creature does not understand what weapons are, he said. It has never had to fight other intelligent species. Then we need to teach it, Sujin said. She reconnected to the navigation link, but this time she did something different. Instead of just guiding the creature's movement, she shared her memories of combat and warfare the creature experienced. Human understanding of tactics, strategy, and the need to defend oneself against aggressive enemies. You have abilities you do not remember, Sujin told the creature. Defense mechanisms that your species used during the Great War. I do not want to fight, the creature replied. Sometimes fighting is necessary to protect those who cannot protect themselves. Through the biomechanical network, all the survivors shared their knowledge of combat with the creature. Battle tactics from dozens of species, weapons technology, defensive strategies, the creature's body began to change. Bioelectrical organs that had been dormant for eons started to activate. Its hide, which had always been soft and vulnerable, began to harden into armor-like plates. They are firing. Hyanwu announced. 3 beams of planet-killing energy lanced through space toward the void swimmer. Each beam was powerful enough to destroy a world, but just before the beams hit, the creature did something that amazed everyone. It generated a gravitational field around itself, bending space so that the deadly energy beams curved away harmlessly. Impossible, came a transmission from the hegemony fleet. Nothing can deflect planet-killer weapons. Apparently, they never fought a creature that could manipulate gravity, Sujin said with grim satisfaction. The creature was not content to just defend. Bioelectrical organs along its sides began to glow, building up massive charges of energy. What is it doing? Veltar asked. Learning, Deho replied. Lightning erupted from the creature's body. Not the random bolts of a storm, but precisely targeted electrical attacks. The lightning found the hegemony ship's weapon systems and overloaded them in seconds. 50 escort ships went dark as their power systems fried. The 3 planet killers found their massive weapons completely disabled. This is Fleet Commander Morden, came a transmission from the lead hegemony ship. What have you done to our weapons? Hyanwu activated the external communications. This is the human ship Harmony's Edge. We have done what humans do best. We found a way to work together with others to solve impossible problems. Humans, Morden's voice was filled with hatred. We will destroy you even if we have to ram you with our ships. I do not think you will, Hyun-woo replied calmly. The creature was moving now, swimming through space toward the helpless hegemony fleet. But instead of attacking, it did something that shocked everyone. It began to sing. The song was transmitted on every frequency, in every language. It was a song of welcome, of invitation, of cooperation instead of conflict. What is it doing? Sujin asked. Offering them a choice, Daeho said. The creature has learned that fighting and destroying others is not the answer. It is offering them the chance to join us instead. Some of the hegemony ships began to lower their remaining weapons. Others tried to flee but found their engines disabled by the creature's electromagnetic field. This is impossible, Morden transmitted. We are the hegemony. We do not cooperate with inferior species. Then you can watch from here while we change the galaxy, Hyun-woo replied. The creature was already moving again, swimming toward the stellar nursery where its children would be born. Behind it, the disabled hegemony fleet could only watch as the most important event in galactic history began to unfold. Inside the creature, the survivors felt its joy and anticipation. Soon, the spawning would begin, and nothing would ever be the same. The stellar nursery was the most beautiful thing any of them had ever seen. Thousands of new stars were being born from clouds of glowing gas and cosmic dust. The radiation here was clean and pure, exactly what the Void Swimmer needed to complete its final mission. I can feel the creature's excitement, Sujin said from her navigation link. It has been dreaming of this place for millions of years. Through the chamber walls, they could see the amazing sight outside. Young stars blazed. With newborn fire, their light painting the cosmic gas clouds in brilliant colors of blue, gold, and silver. This is where it all begins, Daeho said, monitoring the biomechanical systems that now flowed throughout the creature's body. This is where the new generation will be born. The healing process had worked beyond their wildest dreams. The Void Swimmer was now stronger than it had been in eons. The radiation poisoning was gone, replaced by clean energy from the stellar nursery. Its damaged organs had been rebuilt with hybrid biotechnology that was part living tissue and part advanced machinery. The spawning is starting, Valtar announced, through their sensors. They could see the creature's body beginning to change. Special organs that had been dormant for millions of years were activating. But this spawning was different from anything that had happened before. The new creatures will not be like their parent, Daeho explained as he watched the readings. They are being born already connected to our technology. They will be living ships from the moment they hatch. Living ships, asked Bixtel, ships that are alive but also technological. Ships that can think and feel, but also carry crews and equipment. Ships that are designed from birth to work in partnership with other species. The first new Void Swimmer emerged from its parent in a shower of golden light. It was smaller than the ancient creature, about the size of a large space station. Its body was sleek and beautiful, with organic curves that flowed seamlessly into technological components. It is magnificent, Sujin breathed. The newborn creature immediately began to sing, its voice joining with its parents in a harmony that spoke of joy and welcome. But this song was different. It was transmitted through both biological and technological systems, creating music that touched both the heart and the mind. It is calling to us, Hyun-woo said, listening to the communications. It wants crews. Crews? Asked Koran. Not one species, multiple species working together, just like we did here. More young Void Swimmers were being born, each one unique, but all sharing the same hybrid nature. Some were designed for exploration, others for carrying cargo, others for scientific research. But all of them were born with the desire to work in cooperation with other intelligent beings. This is incredible, said one of the alien survivors. They are not just animals or machines. They are something completely new. Daeho was reading the biomechanical data with growing amazement. The parent creature used our DNA, our technology, even our memories as templates for the new generation. Each young swimmer carries genetic material from every species that helped heal their parent. So they are part human, part Veltar S species, part everyone? Sujin asked. In a way, yes. But more than that. They are designed to understand and work with any intelligent species they encounter. The ancient void swimmer was communicating with its children, teaching them everything it had learned during its long lifetime. But the lessons were different now. Instead of teaching them to be solitary wanderers, it was teaching them to be partners and bridges between different worlds. Look, Veltar pointed to his sensors. Some of the young ones are approaching our chamber. The nearest newborn swimmer moved close to its parent's stomach chamber. Through the walls, they could see its beautiful biotechnological surface. Openings appeared in its hide, perfectly shaped to accept ships from the graveyard. It wants some of us to join with it, Daeho realized. Join with it how? Asked several voices at once. As its crew, as its partners. The ship graveyard can be separated into sections, and each section can become part of a different young swimmer. It was the most amazing offer any of them could imagine. Instead of being trapped passengers, they could become true partners with living ships that spanned the galaxy. I will go, Veltar said immediately. My people were meant to work with. The void swimmers. This is our chance to return to our true purpose. I will go too, said Bixtel. After being trapped for so long, the idea of swimming freely between the stars sounds wonderful. One by one, the survivors chose which young swimmer they wanted to join with. The ships and crews were divided up, but not separated. The biotechnological network that Daeho had built allowed all the swimmers to stay in constant communication with each other. What about us? Sujin asked Daeho. Which ship do we choose? I have a different idea, he replied. I want to stay with the parent creature. Someone needs to help it transition to its new role as the coordinator of this new civilization. Coordinator? Hyanwu asked. The ancient swimmer is not going to die now that it has spawned. The healing process has given it a new lease on life. It can become the mobile capital of the new cooperative civilization. The idea was brilliant. The massive parent creature could carry representatives from hundreds of species. It could serve as a meeting place, a center of learning, and a symbol of what cooperation could achieve. And I know exactly what we should call this new civilization, Sujin said with a smile. What? Daeho asked. The symbiosis. Because that is what this is. Different species working together to create something greater than any of them could achieve alone. As the young swimmers prepared to leave the stellar nursery with their new crews, Henwu picked up transmissions from across the galaxy. Word of what had happened was spreading fast. Ships from dozens of species are asking to join us, he reported. They want to be part of the symbiosis. Even some of the hegemony ships are requesting permission to approach, he added with amazement. The disabled hegemony fleet had been watching the spawning process from a safe distance. Many of their crews were beginning to question their government's policy of violence and domination. Let them come, Daeho said. But they have to leave their weapons behind and agree to work cooperatively with other species. Some are agreeing, Hyanwu said. Others are trying to return to hegemony space to report what they have seen. Let them go, Sujin said. When they tell their leaders about the symbiosis, it will force the hegemony to reconsider their aggressive policies. Over the following days, the transformation continued. The young swimmers learned quickly how to work with their new crews. The parent creature began its new role as a mobile diplomatic center, and more ships arrived daily to join the growing movement. Daeho found himself in the strange position of being the chief engineer of an entirely new type of civilization. His biomechanical interfaces were being copied and improved by engineers from dozens of species. You realize what you have done, Veltar said during one of their communication sessions. He was now happily serving as the liaison between his species and his new swimmer partner. I fixed a sick creature, Daeho replied modestly. You did much more than that. You showed the galaxy that cooperation is more powerful than competition. You proved that humans have something special to offer. What is that? The refusal to give up. The willingness to try impossible solutions. The ability to see potential where others see only problems. Months later, Hyun-woo sat at his communication station broadcasting news across the galaxy. The symbiosis had grown to include over 1,000 ships and dozens of species. The young swimmers were exploring regions of space that had never been visited before, always working in partnership with their crews. "This is Hyun-woo of the Symbiosis Central Coordination Ship," he spoke into his transmitter. "Today marks 6 months since the birth of our new civilization. We have established peaceful contact with 47 new species. We have helped resolve 3 interstellar conflicts through cooperative negotiation. And we have discovered 12 new worlds suitable for colonization." He paused and looked around the chamber that had once been a prison and was now the heart of a galactic movement. "But most importantly, we have proven that the future belongs not to the strongest or the most aggressive, but to those who choose to work together." Soo-jin, now the chief navigator of the parent swimmer, was plotting their next destination. "Where to next?" she asked Daeho. "The hegemony homeworld has agreed to receive a diplomatic mission," he replied. "They want to learn more about our technology." "Do you think they are serious about changing their ways?" "I think they do not have much choice. The galaxy is changing around them. They can either adapt or be left behind." As the massive void swimmer prepared to swim toward its next destination, Daeho stood at one of the viewing ports and watched the young swimmers scattered across the local space. Each one carried crews from multiple species, all working together toward common goals. "What are you thinking about?" Soo-jin asked, joining him at the window. "I am thinking about how this all started," he replied. "A few days ago, we were just trying to survive. Now we are part of something that is changing the entire galaxy." "Do you regret anything?" "Only that it took us so long to figure out the solution." "Which solution?" "That sometimes the best way to escape a trap is to help the thing that trapped you." Outside the viewing port, young swimmers danced between the stars, their biotechnological bodies shining with the light of cooperation and hope. The age of symbiosis had begun, and humanity had become its catalyst. The mechanic had found his spaceship trapped inside a giant alien worm. But nobody had expected what happened next, because nobody had imagined that the solution to impossible problems might lie not in fighting or fleeing, but in choosing to heal and help instead. The galaxy would never be the same.